Helldivers 2 is currently putting the AAA games industry to shame right now. Not only does this game have probably an infinitely less budget than that of AAA titles, but it manages to still pull in massive numbers, punching well above its weight for what I would consider a AA title. It's no secret that AAA games have been going down a steep downhill decline in terms of quality for quite some time now, for Western games that is. The Eastern ones are still killing it with recent releases like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Persona 3 Reload, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, with so many more on the way. With the most recent big AAA disappointments like Suicide Squad, which is hovering at around 500 players concurrently just 1 month after launch. And Skull and Bones, the supposed quadruple A title, was both a commercial and critical failure. And looking at all the AAA letdowns of 2023 based on user reviews, out of the 13 disappointments, only 2 of them were from Eastern studios. The rest of the 11 disappointing games were from big Western publishers like Blizzard and EA. And that's not including the sports games, which are also made by Western studios. With how poorly these titles were received from their audiences, it wouldn't be surprising for a person to feel that the AAA games market leaves a lot to be desired. That's where the AA and indie scene starts to step up and completely take the world by surprise with its huge hits like Power World, Lethal Company, and now Helldivers 2. Games that have a way lesser budget than what these big well-known studios are releasing, yet are still pulling in major numbers that are nothing to scoff at. It happened with Power World with its meteoric rise, just recently hitting over 25 million sales. And now it's happening to Helldivers 2 with its unexpectedly overwhelming positive reception. There were so many people trying to play this game that the servers just straight up broke from the sheer volume of players trying to get in. Same with Last Epoch. All of these AA and indie games that have been coming out recently, I would say, are even better than a lot of AAA games on the market right now, selling for $60 to $70. But why do development teams of less than 100 end up making way better games than those with multiple hundreds? What's the secret sauce here? Well, it's because of one simple reason. These developers simply have passion. And because they actually know what players want and closely listen to their feedback, but that's beside the point. The point is that these developers are just focusing on creating a fun game. That's it. Now, what does this have to do with Helldivers 2? Well, it's because I've been playing a lot of Helldivers recently, and this game has got me in a stun lock because I've been really enjoying my time with this title. And while doing this, I couldn't help but notice all the little nuances that these AA and indie developers do that make their games feel so fun to play. And Helldivers is the perfect example of a game that does everything to be as consumer friendly as possible while also being fun. This video isn't really going to be a review so much as it's going to be a showcase of what Helldivers does that makes it so much better than what AAA games are doing today. The first thing this game does that I think should be praised a lot more is that its premium currency can actually be earned in-game for free just by playing. That's right, the same premium currency that you can use to buy the battle pass and the skins within the in-game store can be earned just by going on missions and finding them hidden throughout the world. It's like how in Warframe you can choose to buy the paid currency if you want to support the developers, but if you just want to get the platinum, you can get it completely for free by trading other players for them. Blizzard, EA, Ubisoft, Activision would never do something like this because they all know that they won't make as much money if they allowed players to do this. They want to squeeze out every last penny from their player base so bad that they will charge ludicrous amounts of money for stupid cosmetics, like the $65 horse mount that Blizzard is trying to sell you in Diablo 4, or the microtransactions in a single player game like Ubisoft did. And not only can you earn the paid currency just by playing the game, but if you happen to want to pay for it and support the developers, you'll see that the highest currency package is only $20. Yeah, Arrowhead Studios are literally limiting the amount of money you can give them because it's just not a priority for them. And the best part about this game's monetization is that all the battle passes that this game has and will have do not ever expire. So you can purchase anything from any battle pass completely for free anytime you want, even if you miss the initial release window. Again, AAA studios would never even consider doing something like this. I think one of the only other games that doesn't use FOMO like this is Deep Rock Galactic, another amazingly consumer-friendly game that's also seen overwhelming praise. And Arrowhead having their game be only $40 while having a payment model be this cheap proves that you don't need these $100 million blockbuster budgets to be massively successful. All you need to do is just make a fun game and people will naturally gravitate towards it. You don't need to put these bullshit limited time events that go away permanently, or these dailies and weekly quests in order to keep players logging on like it's their second job. Just respect people's time and money and they will return that respect tenfold. Which leads me to the second thing that Helldivers does so well. It's that this game is amazingly casual friendly because Helldivers respects your time. The devs know that the majority of the player base are grown adults with their own lives and responsibilities that they have to attend to. A lot of adults simply don't have a lot of free time to spend on playing video games anymore, especially the live service ones that require constant grinding in order to even keep up with the player base. In Helldivers, you can get some of the best items in the game with a relatively low amount of hours. For reference, I got the shield backpack and railgun, two of the best items currently that require the most money and the highest level out of all the stratagems. And I got them after about 20 or so hours of casual playtime. If you do the XP farm strat, I bet you could get those items with just a fraction of that time. The grind ceiling in this game is honestly pretty low as far as live service games go. You can pretty much get a decent loadout very early into the game, which just helps ease new players who maybe only have a few hours a day get into Helldivers and still have fun. But the best part about this game is that you don't even need these items to be useful at the highest difficulty because every item and every stratagem can be useful if used correctly. A low level player can still be useful even at the highest difficulty levels using some of the lower level stratagems, meaning that every player can be useful as long as they know how to shoot a gun and play DDR. Anyways, this is so great because it allows for people to easily hop into a co-op mission with their friends and strangers alike without having some arbitrary statistical difference that would make them either stomp or get stomped. You can just join a mission at any difficulty, and if you know what you're doing and you know how to use your equipment, you'll do fine. The biggest problem is probably finding a public group willing to accept a low level player. But that's what friends are for. I mean, we all have those, right? And the third thing that Arrowhead Studios does so well that we don't really see in AAA game studios anymore is the amount of community interaction, because the community is the lifeblood of Helldivers. Every decision that Arrowhead makes and has made in regards to this game has been made with the intention of keeping the goodwill with the player base. The devs are constantly communicating with the players on social media like Twitter and Reddit. I mean, even the CEO of Arrowhead is constantly interacting with people on Twitter. He's pretty much posting daily on Twitter about the game, and from the way that he tweets, it doesn't seem like he's some robotic corporal suit making PR statements. He's just a nerdy gamer like the rest of us. I mean, just look at the language he uses. Chad engineer, slow as code, clown emoji. In what universe would you ever see the CEO of a company talk like this? Certainly not Bobby Kotick, and thank God he's gone now. Anyways, because the people leading the development of Helldivers are actually gamers and play their own game, they've implemented all of these quality of life adjustments to the gameplay that only a person who actually plays it can really appreciate. Like how this game has a concept called staged reloading, where the reloading animation has multiple stages that it completes in order to refill your ammo. And the purpose of this concept is so that whenever your reload gets cancelled for whatever reason, you won't have to restart the animation from the beginning. You just have to continue your reload from where you left off. For example, if you reload and your guy takes out the mag and puts in a new one, but for some reason you had to cancel your reload last second, you won't have to see your character pull out the mag again and put in another one. All you have to do is just pull the slide and you're good to go. This is such a huge quality of life implementation that not many games with guns actually do, because it's such a small and niche problem that not many people really care about. But the fact that Arrowhead took the development time to create a mechanic like this that nobody really expected just goes to show that the devs were making this game with fun as the top priority. Now compare that to, let's say, the team at Blizzard who have no idea what they're doing with Diablo 4, and it's painfully obvious that they don't play their own game.
By the waves rolling by, like that.
She was actually the big boss of the BlizzCon demo back in what was it, 2019 or whatever, when we announced the game.
Also quite difficult as well.
Oh, bloodsucker. Alright, can you stop and let me hit you, please?
We got her nearly halfway.
Grams started popping up all over the place, so I hopped into one of those. I have died.
Hold on.
I know some people will be like, what about the server issues on launch and why were they so bad? And the reason for that is simple. The devs didn't expect this many people to play their game because Helldivers 1 only ever had a peak concurrent player count of about 7,000 players, give or take. And Helldivers 2 has gained more than 100 times that amount, with the developers even expecting the max concurrent player count to hit 800,000 players. No developer would have ever thought to themselves that the sequel to a niche game with a tiny audience would ever hit even 2x the player count, let alone 100x. But Arrowhead still persisted in making the best game that they can, despite thinking to themselves that Helldivers 2 would just be another small indie title that wouldn't even be a blip on the radar to most people. This is exactly the kind of humility that gamers can get behind, and AAA games could learn a thing or two from how these AA and indie studios approach game development because they desperately need to know. But will that happen? Probably not. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know down below and make sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content in the future. See ya.